Good morning, everyone, and welcome in to the Real Monica Adams show. Obviously, today we were hoping to come to you live from the Vault Luxury Resale. We were going to do our makeover show. However, and it really fits with what we're talking about today, one of the owners fell sick. And so we have rescheduled that fashion show for next Wednesday. This is absolutely the sick season, right? The flu, the COVID. We've got people with pneumonia, RSV, you name it. You tell me what your kids are going through. Well, I wanted to talk today about something that happened while I was in Italy. The FDA talking about banning our cold medicines that we've been taking for years and years and years. Do you feel duped? There are people talking about wanting to file lawsuits for all of the money that they've spent. I mean, we're talking about decades. I'm thinking of all the things that I've been taking over the last couple of weeks. Right. We've got Robitussin here. We've got Theraflu. My husband's got Dayquil, NyQuil, chloroseptic tablets. The ingredient that's in some of these is what they're talking about banning. So we're going to talk about that today. And I want you to weigh in on what measures do you use to get yourself well. Do you take all this? This is what my husband does. He runs to Walgreens and gets all of these. Now, he's big on taking all these over-the-counter medicines. I love the idea of, you think of Sarah Franco with Invita Health and Wellness. We've got Jennifer Warman-Bloss with Elemental Aesthetics. We've got Dr. Sarah Jensen from Regional Dermatology. All these wonderful people around me that say, hey, Monica, come into the clinic. We'll give you shots, immune shots, IV hydration therapy shots, things like that. That's what I've turned more to. I've got this wonderful group of people around me, but it's also about how we eat, how much sleep we get. Are we getting out in nature? Are we hanging around toxic people? To me, that's how I live my life. I'll tell you, I woke up this morning, felt miserable again, felt like I kind of went backwards because everything was back in my nose again, but I didn't take anything. Instead, I got up, did this. How much does hydration, water, first of all, play in the role of how we take care of ourselves? We've got so much to talk about today. We're going to talk about, again, that ingredient, but what I want is a lot of interaction with you. So what I want to know is and maybe you can start, as it says on the bottom here, start texting people, calling people, telling them, hey, mom, grandma, aunts, family, friends, what did you give us when we were younger? Because what I want you to do is pass along what you used in the past that you have carried on. I'm going to talk about one of the old remedies that my mom did with us as kids that my husband laughs at. And he's like, we never did that. And I don't think it works. Okay. I think sometimes if you think it works, that you get better, right? Is it kind of like that placebo effect? How much does an apple a day keep the doctor away? Okay. So nutrition, how much of a role does nutrition play in it? We've got a lady that watches a show on a regular basis, and she texted me last night and said, I want to pass along the things that I use just in case I don't get a chance to watch this morning. And she sent me things I had never even heard of. One I have. A lot of people use essential oils. What role do you think that plays in our health? But she also sent something else that I had never seen before. So I'm going to pass that along as well. But I want you to weigh in this morning as much as you can stay on, and hopefully in the entire hour show, because we've got a lot to show you. Again, we're going to talk about what we haven't had a chance to talk about together because it happened 2 weeks ago when I was in Italy. But I think it's such a powerful topic to get into, and it's got legs to it. So I'd like to bring a doctor on, an infectious disease doctor, and would love to talk to someone on the higher level of the government to talk about this ingredient that's in our cold medicines that we've been taking, and I do mean for decades, that suddenly now, and why now, they're going to talk about banning next year. But we are all out so much money over the years because of this one particular ingredient. So let's talk about holistic ways of healing. Let's talk about the ones that we really do need to take. Let's talk about when it's the right time to go to the doctor, but the preventative side of it. What do we do on a daily basis to prevent that? Why do I think I'm sick right now? And why do I think I was sick a couple of weeks ago? We'll talk about that as well. All right. If you're in our immediate area, you probably got, and by the way, if you are new to the show, we are broadcasting live from the St. Louis, Missouri area, but all around the states and all around other countries. I just came back from Italy, so met a lot of people, passed along the fact that we do this talk show every morning. morning. I really want us to affect people on a major scale, right? So start telling your friends and family in other states. And when you're on vacation, take us with you in other countries and pass along the love for us. If you are in our immediate area, you probably got woke up by the crazy wind. It is very windy this morning. Forecast for our immediate area, and I'm just going to do this quick for our St. Louis area, 45 degrees. That's your high today, and very windy again tonight. My mom sent a text and said, hey, unhook your hoses. That came from my brother. So thank you, my family taking care of us. If you didn't do it, because again, we're talking about almost near freezing temperatures. Tomorrow, 48. We're going to get a little warmer into the weekend, 54 for Saturday. And then we've got rain chances you can see in the forecast starting Sunday all the way through next Friday. 64 though for a high Sunday looks nice. And then we get into the mid 60s Monday and then pretty much into the 40s. Look at Thanksgiving, mid 40s, and then dropping down to 31 on Thanksgiving night. It is going to be a cold one for sure. Are you ready for the cold weather? I was already bundled up with scarves and hats and big coats while I was in Italy. So my body's kind of gotten used to it. But I also think that it's Italy and the amount of, I should say the lack of sleep, not the amount of sleep, but the lack of sleep and the go, and not having a bunch of vegetables, not having a bunch of fruit. So the lack of the holistic and homeopathic and nutritious side of food, I think plays a huge part in all of this. If you don't, trust me, just look at the person that you watch on a regular basis who eats healthy, sleeps well, drinks a lot of water, and everything was so very different while we were in Italy. It was like this, what do they say, gastronomy, right? It was just food, cheeses, meats, wine, repeat. Not a lot of sleep. It was, from a culinary standpoint, mind-blowing. But from the aspect of getting proper sleep and nutritious wise, that wasn't in there. And I think it played a role in it. And so the lack of sleep and my immune system being down, not taking all the medicine, or I should say the supplements and vitamins, I didn't have all those with me. I think that all played a role. So we're going to talk about all this today. And I really want to go deeper into what is in our cold medicines that they're talking about banning, and why was it ever allowed in the first place? Who's behind that whole money grab is what I want to say. I also want to have some news about our St. Louis Blues and a new uniform. What? Well, kinda, sorta. We'll talk about all of that when we return. And again, today is going to be all very interactive. I want to know what grandmas and moms and aunts and uncles, etc., have passed along for years that you're using. So start telling everybody to tune in. Maybe send them a text and say, hey, if you can't watch live right now, what is it that you had us take if you don't remember? And maybe you need to bring it back out and carry it forward, because trust me, moms know best.
Welcome to the mobile Monica version of the Real Monica Adams Show at my favorite restaurant.
There's something about a coffee house that's just very warm and welcoming.
Gives you that sense of community.
What are you most proud of since you've opened it?
I cry easily. I'm thankful for everybody here.
You opened the door during the middle of the pandemic. You got the best Italian restaurant in the United States. Here in St. Louis, you put us on the map.
Does it scare you? You go through fear?
Terrifying.
So how do you get past the fear?
We find something to laugh about.
All right, welcome back to the Real Monica Adams Show. Good morning. Hannah Ledford's at home. She is part of our team. She's one of our interns from SIUE. And I got to say, if any of you have maybe kids or nieces or nephews, someone you know, family friend that wants to be a part of our team, they have done incredible work with us from SIUE. I'm going to be reaching out to my contact there and maybe having more as we go into the winter and then the spring and the summer semesters. But I would love also to kind of branch out. If you have kids that are interested in this field, and like in the past, it used to be, media, broadcasting, journalism, but it's taken on so much of a different picture of the way media looks, right? And a lot of them that have gotten into our internship have said, wow, this is really where it's going. Absolutely. So the streaming industry, people doing podcasts and this way of watching YouTube shows, we're on multiple platforms right now and they're going to continue to grow. If your kids are interested in it, or even in a social media standpoint, Tia Tricamo's part of our team. We've had a lot of our interns that have turned into actual employees. Zach Kimball, who directs our show when I'm in studio, he'll be directing the show tomorrow. We have a big show from Christopher's in Kirkwood. We'd love for you to watch that and kick off the holiday season. But if you have a kid that's interested in being a part of the team, have them email me. Let me put my email address up on the screen here for you. It's info@TheRealMonicaAdams.com. Reach out to me. I would love to meet them and maybe make them a part of our team as well. Internship or maybe future employment. So Hannah, good morning. If you see Hannah's name, she's dropping in information that you need to know of things that I talk about. She makes it easier for you to just click on. She is moderating for you. Good morning, Sean from Vandalia, Ohio, on vacation. Thank you for taking us with you. Linda, good morning to you. Luann, good morning. You got snow again. I'm not looking for snow, Sean, so leave it there. Julie. All right, Julie, we're starting the information that you're going to give us, that you're going to pass along to us. So Julie says neti pot and essential oils. That is exactly what my client said yesterday. She's like, Monica, you might want to do a neti pot. And I will tell you, while I was on the plane, that is the only thing that I was thinking of is I just want a neti pot, just because there was so much pressure. And that's what a lot of people are talking about, the pressure that they have in their eyes and in their nose right now. So whatever that bug is, that's what I had. However, I got it in Italy because it was on the plane with me coming back from Italy. And again, one was I had something different before we left. Anybody else been dealing with the crazy sore throat? That's what I had 3 weeks ago. I mean, like daggers, like somebody stabbing you in the throat, and then I lost my voice. That's what I had going to Italy. Coming back from Italy was this whole nother thing. And then I'm hearing young kids that are getting walking pneumonia. A lot of times we hear pneumonia and we think it's somebody in the hospital, somebody older. Nope. You've got kids and seniors and adults alike that are getting pneumonia. Then we're mixing it in with COVID because now it's going to be a thing. COVID like flu, COVID, pneumonia, RSV. What else is out there? And what are you doing? That's what we're talking about today. What do you do with the immediate sign of something that comes on? So neti pot and essential oils, Julie says. Good morning, Julie Purcell. Let's see. Carrie, good morning to you. Luann says essential oils and Vicks. All right, thank you. You started my conversation. So Luann, that's what Jim laughs about. My husband, for those of you that don't know, my husband's name is Jim. So when I talk about Jim, that's my hubby. I always, whenever I get sick, my mom, the first thing that she says, and if she tunes in, she'll say this, Vicks Vapo Rub, but she also swears by something that she got from a family friend from another country. It's called Mentasan. Look it up. Have any of you ever heard of this? She swears by Mentasan, and so she's never going to let go of me being her baby. Immediately when she heard that I was coming back from Italy and I was as sick as I was, she's like, get home and take the Mentasan and put it up your nose. All right. So the Vapo aspect, put it in your nose, then put it on your throat, Monica, put it on your chest. And do you all put it on the back also? Because she wants the lungs to just open up. Now, here's my other question. Did you take the Vapo Rub or the Mentasan or anything else like that? Did you rub it all over your neck and chest? And did you all put a towel? Because this is what I remember as a kid. She would put a towel on us, like just a regular hand towel. And then there was a pin. And I don't understand how the pin, because I mean, how does it go around your neck? Or she must have had like 2 towels. I don't understand. I wish she would be signing on right now because I don't understand how that little safety pin was able to keep that around us. But maybe it's because we were little kids. I tried to do it as an adult. And I'm like, it doesn't work. I'm just going to shove it here and then have something tighter around my neck to keep it there. But I guess that was to keep it close to the body and so that you're not getting all sticky. Did you all do that? Do you still do it? And do you swear by it? Mom swears by it. If you are a nurse or if you're in the medical field, tell us, does it work? Because what we're going to talk about today is in the medical field that we feel like we've been duped because of ingredients that are in our cold medicine. If you didn't hear, it was when I was on vacation a couple of weeks ago, the ingredient in a lot of cold medications, they say does not work. And the FDA is the one that's coming out now talking about banning it. We're talking about decongestants, again, in cold medicines that don't work according to the panel. And I mean, I could go around to tons of very reputable news agencies. This was their number one story. So we'll talk about that in just a second. Let's wrap this Vicks thing up for a second. Vicks Vapo Rub, Luann says, on the bottom of feet. Okay, I've never done it on the feet. I've always done it on the chest. Peggy Bond, good morning to you. She's a nurse. What do you think? If Peggy, if you're still on, what do you think about this? Linda, there you go. We would use Vicks and also hot steam. That's the other thing. I couldn't wait to get, what is it about that, by the way? I couldn't wait to get soup at the airport. And before I even ate it, I just put it on my face and put it in front of my face and just breathe in so it would open up my eyes. I'm just trying to breathe again, right? I mean, I was so stopped up for 3 days that I could not breathe out of my nose whatsoever. Obviously, that was affecting my breathing. I can still hear it a little bit in me, but yes, just trying to get that hot steam. I went to the gym, not to work out, but to sit in a sauna. How many of you go into a steam room or a sauna? These are more of what I consider to be more holistic ways, and try to have more of like the, do you put anything in the steam where it opens it up and you've got more of that, like that menthol? Linda says, I suffered from bronchitis every winter. Holy cow, you poor thing. I now use Mucinex. It does work. Also, lots of water and fresh air clears your head. Right. So the nature side of it. But it's also, I mean, we think about what's in our home, right? People, there's a reason why all of these different companies that want to get into your vent system and clean all that out, because it's what we're breathing in. Linda says Vicks Vapor Rub is still a staple in my house. Okay, I'm glad to hear that. Joe, my dermatologist says I am atopic, which means I have a good immune system, but susceptible to skin rashes. At least that's what I think she told me. I love consuming honey during the winter months. There we go. Another, what I would consider a holistic remedy. Honey for sure. I use honey all the time in my hot tea, and I do herbal teas. But if you watch the show on Tuesday, we had Joe in from Weingarten Vineyard. And I think for the first 50 minutes of the show, I sounded good. For the last 10 or 15 minutes, I started to hear it all come out. And do you want to know why? We tasted some of his wine. That's a histamine. And so you think about what we take, antihistamines, and I think that's what triggered it. So alcohol, not good. Caffeine is not good. Water is probably the best thing for us. And I would think more of like vitamin C being in orange juice. Are there other juices that you would think we can take for this? Again, if you're just tuning in, today we're talking about our health, but we're also talking about being duped. And I'm going to go a little bit deeper into that story. Did you all hear it? And if so, when it came out a couple weeks ago, were you angry? Were you frustrated? Did you want to file a lawsuit? Did you want to jump on board a class action lawsuit that could be out there? Are you thinking about all the money? I mean, that's what I thought right away was, one, my first thought was, I knew it. I knew it didn't work. All the things that you just pile on, and what happens? You go to the store and you buy more. This one's not working, so I'm going to buy another cold medicine. And that's all I've thought for years is this stuff doesn't work, and all it does is make you a zombie. My husband laughed, and he gave me this. Now, I think it helped for a little while, but look, it still came back. He gave me Robitussin the other night because he heard me starting to cough. And I said, what are you giving me? Because I thought he was giving me NyQuil. And he said, I'm giving you Robitussin, Monica. And I said, is it going to make me feel like a zombie? How many of you asked that question? That's the only thing that I always think is medicine, especially when you're taking it in the evening and it's stuff that doesn't say non-drowsy, that you're going to wake up the next morning. Sure, it probably knocks you out, but then you have absolutely no energy trying to go to work the next day. I always feel foggy in my brain, and I always felt like, from a productivity standpoint, that my levels were way down. Do you all agree with that? So let's go back to Joe's comment again. He said, I love consuming honey during the winter months. I try to eat whole foods and try to be outside more. Absolutely. So we're going to talk about the role that nutrition plays. I mean, look at all of this food. Do you eat this way on a regular basis? We're going to talk about falling into winter with some key nutrients. And again, the nutrition side and the holistic side of life, and how we should be doing all of that from a preventative aspect. Linda says, I get sick when I got back from France. Same thing, congested head and a cough, those germy planes. I know, but we did this. My husband went and bought Airborne. Do you all think Airborne works? He bought those gummies and we took them every day religiously. I was drinking orange juice. We were taking those. So those are all really high in vitamin C, or so we thought. But again, do we take these things just to make our mind feel better that we think we're taking something that works? Or why do we take this? And why do we keep doing it even though we've been saying for years it doesn't work, it doesn't work? And now it's being proven that there's an ingredient that really it doesn't work. I don't know. I'm frustrated. Linda says, we did all those things as a kid. I still use Vicks. For me, it's a short-term fix. Okay, so what can we do long-term? I'm going to bounce over here to Instagram. Hey, everybody over at Instagram, as well as on YouTube, Facebook, X, Rumble. If you have anything to say about these topics, drop it in the comments and I will make sure that you are heard. Any questions that you have about what we're talking about, let us know as well. All right, let's see. Rose, I'm getting over a respiratory infection. I'm telling you, so many people are sick right now, very early on in the season. I mean, we haven't even gotten into December yet. Getting over a respiratory infection, but now that's over. I got sharp pains behind my nose. Yes, the thing that I had when I got on the plane was right here. It hurt so bad, but it started on the right side and it felt real puffy right here under my eyes. Then it flipped to the left side, but it was all such crazy pressure all up in here. And I've never felt before, ever, in getting sick, this amount of pressure. And then it went into my head. So I almost felt like I had a sinus infection. You can still hear it in my voice a little bit because there's still a little bit that's in there, like behind, I mean, probably deep. It's not draining because that's the thing that sucks, right? It starts to drain, then it hurts your throat, and then it's in your belly. Mine's all staying in my head right now. So she said she got sharp pains behind her nose, across my cheekbone. Yep, behind the head. The pain is horrible on my face. All my friends are sick, Monica. I hope you get better. Rose, honey, that is exactly what I had. So what are you taking for it? What are you doing right now? All right, Terry says boil a pot of water. Yeah, you know, my husband would say, go ahead and just make some pasta and then just breathe in the hot water. And then you got to kill two birds with one stone. You feel better? And then we got pasta for dinner. Yes, put your head over the pot and a towel over your head to breathe in the steam for 6 minutes. We've used Vicks Vapor Rub, on the chest. Now use essential oils combined with coconut oil. Find relief with that. Rest and lots of water. I have been resting like crazy. So a lot of our clients that I personal train are getting together with the girl that's in from Hawaii. They're getting together for dinner tonight. I cannot go. I am really paying attention to the importance of rest. So not going tonight, being smart. You know, you got to get to 50 and suddenly you wake up and you pay attention to your mom. Rose, you may be sick, but you look beautiful. You're very sweet. Yes, fresh food, honey, hot tea. Okay, but Luann, I got to ask about the tea aspect. If you have hot tea and it's got caffeine in it, or hot tea that is herbal, do you feel a difference? Because to me, if it has caffeine, I almost feel like the symptoms come back. Because I was talking about how alcohol and caffeine, I think, bring more of the symptoms on. I think it needs to be more herbal. What do you think, everybody? Just let me know what you think about that. Linda says the only over-the-counter that has worked the best is Mucinex DM. When I was sick, I never knew my head could hold so much snot, right? Yuck. And when it's yellow and green, that's infection. That's not a good thing. I was blowing nonstop for 2 weeks. Oh, I hope this isn't going to last that long. Okay, Luann agrees and says herbal. Carrie says between the elderberry and the infuser combo I use, eucalyptus I love, peppermint, yes, frankincense and lavender, Vicks on the chest. Okay, but somebody go back to the comment about Vicks on your feet. Now, I know a lot of people did that with babies. My mom, I think, used to talk about that, putting it on your feet and then putting socks on. Again, it's the whole aspect of having something absorb it into the system. Okay, what do y'all think? Carrie just said emergency. Do you think emergency works? Because I've heard both sides. Some people say yes. Other people say it's a waste of money. Some people say airborne works. Others say it's a waste of money. So she says emergency and chamomile herbal. Chamomile helps you sleep, right? So we've got chamomile tea at the office, and I don't get that. I'm like, you want people to fall asleep while they're at work? Linda says herbal hot tea and honey, right? So don't use sugar, use honey. And supposedly, they always talk about using honey from our area, right? The bees from our area, and that usually helps from an allergy standpoint. All right, I want to talk about this story that came out a couple of weeks ago, again, about the ingredients in a lot of our cold medications. I mean, look at all those cold medications that are on the shelves. You know, we pick up our Tylenol, our Benadryl, our Robitussin, our Dayquil, our NyQuil. It's one for the day, one for the night. Theraflu, that's what I took the other night. Alka-Seltzer Plus. What works and what doesn't work. You've seen these stories, I bet, and you were waiting for me to come back to talk about this. So on the Today Show, they did this, and Michelle actually sent it to me right away and said, you're going to want to talk about this. And I want to bring a doctor on to go more in depth on this, okay? So these are the best cold remedies according to doctors. There's no cure for the common cold, but there are ways to ease the symptoms while the cold runs its course. So here's what helps and what to avoid according to the experts. Obviously, we all know we don't want to deal with it, but depending on who you're around and if your immune system is down, all that sniffling, the coughing, the aching, it's going to leave us miserable. But for how many days or how many weeks all depends, I think, on what we're taking. So it's going to come as no surprise. Colds are one of the most frequent reasons people miss work and school, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. The common cold is a viral infection. It affects the upper respiratory tract. So we're talking about everything we're all dealing with, right? The nose, the sinuses, the throat. Symptoms. Let's talk about the symptoms you're all dealing with. Runny nose. Oh my God. When I was in the airport, I did not think it was possible for a nose to run this bad. It was like a faucet. It was ridiculous. I mean, I ran to the bathroom at the airport so many times to blow my nose. Like somebody was saying, I didn't think there was that much that could be held there. But we're talking about runny nose, sneezing, sore throat, coughing, headaches, body aches. Now, when I think of a body ache, I think more of the flu, thinking more of getting a fever, getting chills. People usually recover, but you're having to deal with it for 7 to 10 days. So more than 200 viruses can cause a cold. That's really blew my mind. I thought, okay, there might be a handful out there. 200 viruses can cause a cold. Rhinovirus, though, is the most common culprit per the CDC. These viruses can transmit easily from person to person through respiratory droplets and spread like wildfire through homes, through classrooms, through offices. You think about, again, I was just on a plane and you are all compact in that germ tube. And then everybody turns the little air filters on, and what we're breathing in how's it circulated? I mean, they're looking at, all of us shoved into buses together, trains together, airplanes together. The ventilation system has to get better in these. More than 200 viruses. I thought that was interesting. Every year, millions of people in the U.S. get sick with the common cold. Adults get an average of 2 to 3 colds each year. Children, of course, get even more. You know that if you're a parent. It begs the question, how can you get rid of a cold fast? Or do we just have to wait and let our body fight it off? So I'm going to ask you that. How many of you, because you're against taking medicine, how long do you go until you finally give in and do this? Because for me, if we weren't just coming back and I felt just so miserable and Jim wanted to help, I wouldn't have taken all this. I would have done more of the healthy food. I would have had sleep, which I've been doing, resting nonstop. I mean, I've been sleeping 12 hours. Last night I went to bed. I had 11 hours of sleep. I get up, I feel a little bit more well-rested, but I can tell that's the number one thing that your body needs: water and sleep, water and sleep. No cure, unfortunately, for the common cold or a way to get rid of a cold quickly, according to experts. According to one professor, he says colds are due to viruses for which we really don't have any cure or any way to truly treat. Doesn't that make you feel good? So what we rely on are various methods to alleviate some symptoms. Most of the time, the cold will run its course and people get better on their own without any remedies. The old statement, if you treat a cold, it'll go away in a week. And if you don't treat it, it'll go away in 7 days. It's a reality. That's one professor's viewpoint. Although these are countless medicines that are out there, supplements, devices sold in drugstores, which claim to help shorten the duration of the symptoms, the science to back these claims up is often lacking. Okay, according to one pediatrician, he said there's limited high-quality evidence to support specific remedies for the common cold, in particular among children. Colds will always be somewhat uncomfortable. That was according to a medical specialist at Duke. There are ways to help manage the symptoms and feel better while your body fights off the cold. But first, make sure you're treating the right thing. That's the problem. We've got all of these different symptoms, and then all of a sudden we're taking something, it doesn't work, and we're trying to fight it off with yet another thing, and we're just like layering and layering. So according to the chair of medicine at Johns Hopkins, he says the first step in getting over a common cold is to ensure that it's actually the common cold. All right, so it doesn't cause fever. A common cold, shortness of breath, severe pain, complete loss of taste or smell, or a rash. A common cold doesn't do those things. If an illness has one of the features that I just mentioned, it's probably not a common cold, and medical advice should be considered. So stressing the importance of talking to your doctor. Allergies, influenza, COVID-19 can also cause symptoms that may seem like the common cold. Rapid COVID-19 testing could be considered if you want to go that route, to go to the doctor and say, is that what I have? My whole thing, though, do you all do that? Do you rush off and say, oh, do I have COVID? Like we had to, 4 years ago, that we were mandated to do so by our jobs or by the government. Now people have COVID and they're like, whatever, there's nothing out there for me. I'm just going to take the same things I would take if I had the flu, because pretty much COVID is the flu, right? Or another virus that's out there, and it's going to be with us forever. We all heard that. So 4 years ago, we were told something, 3 years ago, 2 years ago. And then those same medical doctors came back and said, well, what we told you wasn't necessarily true, because They were still in the beginning studies of it. So what do you do when you have your symptoms? Do you run to the store and just pick something up and you don't even know what you have? I think that's the biggest problem I've always thought is we don't even know what it is. Most colds will go away, but it's, do you have the patience? Do you want to deal with the miserable symptoms for a week to 10 days? According to experts, if symptoms last longer, that's when it's time to see a doctor. So what doesn't help a cold? When it comes to this, there are many things that won't help. Okay, so let's all listen up to this, and I'm going to be included in this because I think what I have is just the common cold. It will not help you feel better, but the experts emphasize avoiding several in particular. Ready for it? Antibiotics are medications used to treat or prevent infections caused by bacteria. As I previously mentioned, the common cold is caused by a viral infection. According to this doctor, he said bacteria are very different from viruses, and therefore, so are the treatments. Unless there's a bacterial infection complicating matters, antibiotics are not needed to treat a cold and can cause unnecessary harm. Antibiotics can cause side effects ranging from a mild rash, diarrhea, severe allergic reactions, and antibiotic-resistant infections. And this is according to the CDC. What did I say earlier about alcohol and caffeine? Unfortunately, your morning coffee or the hot tea that has caffeine in it or your evening glass of wine should wait until you no longer feel sick. I'm telling you, as soon as I tasted the wine on Tuesday, all the symptoms started coming back. And I mean, roared back immediately within minutes. I could hear it and feel it in me because of the alcohol, the histamine, or a caffeine. It's important to avoid these. They can make dehydration much worse. And if you're experiencing the cold, it's going to bring on those symptoms. That's according to a physician from the Mayo Clinic. All right, smokers and vapors, it would not be advisable to smoke or vape when you're sick because that can just contribute to inflammation, cough, and irritation of the airway. So what's the best medicine for a cold? There are countless cold medicines out there. So when you look at the labels, you want to be careful to see what the ingredients are in them. And that's where I'm going to pause. We're going to take a quick break. I'm going to go into what the ingredients are. And what I'm going to do is go through our cabinet and I'm going to get rid of anything that has this ingredient in it because I'm just going to feel like it's a waste. I mean, I don't know. Do you go through it all? Just use it because you have it and you wasted the money on it? I don't know. Carrie says the feet has sensors for every aspect of the body. Vicks on the feet hits those sensors. Well, that would make sense why we go to an acupuncturist or someone who does acupressure, and they start a lot on the feet. I believe in all the meridian points, right? So when it comes to medicine, I do the holistic side, the homeopathic side, the natural side, but I also love the Western and the Eastern medical sides together. Linda says, that's what I said. Nonstop runny nose. Thank goodness for puff soft tissues. I cannot sleep well when I'm sick. When I lie down, that's when the head clogs up. Yes, it's the down pressure. I agree. So that's when the drugs need to kick in. Sometimes I even get up and step outside in the cold air to clear my head. Again, fresh air. The only problem with that is if you're allergic to any of the leaves, and I mean, it was windy as heck last night, today, tomorrow, all of that kind of get whipped up, all the dust. My husband's a sweetheart. He went and tried to blow all the leaves off by our pool. And he put all the covers over our furniture outside. But I just felt like he was going to come in because he's really susceptible to allergies. And all of that whipping up was crazy. Linda said, I did test myself for COVID. It was negative. Even though my symptoms were common cold, my niece was with us on the trip and she tested COVID positive when she got home. But here's my question about that right now, because we're in such a different world than we were 4 years ago when COVID first came out. If somebody gets a test, and it says that they're positive for COVID, what do you do? How different do you live your life? Because so many people say, I'm not living in any different. I'm not going to live in the basement like we did. We're not going to stay home for 7 to 10 days. Because how is it any different from the flu? When you have symptoms like a fever, that's when you should be staying home. But if you don't have a fever and you're just clogged up, do you stay home from work? Do you keep the kids home from school? How does it change your thinking and your mindset if you get a notification that it comes back and says that you have the flu, the flu or COVID? That's what I want to know. When do you stay home, or when do you are you all wearing masks? I'm not wearing a mask anymore. I haven't worn a mask in years. Do you wear a mask? I mean, how has our life changed ever since 2020. We're going to talk about popular herbal remedies for colds, flus, coughs. I want you to pass along ancient secrets. I mean, again, we want to help each other. All these things, we're just going to discuss this for the next half hour, and we're going to help each other get past the common cold. That is what we're here for. More to come right here on The Real Monica Adams Show. This is my wonderful role model, one of my best friends.
She said, oh my gosh, you got a long life. You could probably live to be 130 or something. And I said, oh God, I hope not.
It's getting hot in here. Don't take off all your clothes.
I'm not going to take off my clothes. On the radio tape, going to
Kansas City, Kansas City, here I come.
We're gonna speak. We're not gonna spank anybody. We're gonna speak about knowing your value, and then I'm gonna
I'm going to spank them.
if you don't know your value and you don't grab hold of how important you are, I'm gonna spank you.
Folks, you never know what you're going to get with her. Well, she's the one, of course, that passes along all the remedies. And do we pay attention to what our moms and our grandmas and our dads and our grandpas told us? Do we still use those remedies today? That's what I want to know. So we are talking today about the common cold being duped because of things that are ingredients in what we've been buying for many, many years. Again, if you didn't hear this, it came out a couple of weeks ago. A lot of the news talk shows were talking about it. And now they're talking about the possibility that the FDA is going to ban some of these medicines into next year because they don't actually work. So we went into the break saying we were going to come back talking about what is the best medicine for a cold, okay? There are countless cold medicines out there. So when you look at labels, you want to be careful to see what the ingredients are in them. These include analgesics for pain, decongestants, expectorants, antihistamines, or cough suppressants. A lot of cold products have a lot of these combined together. The right over-the-counter medicine to take will depend on the symptoms that you're trying to treat and whether it's safe for you. Some people cannot take certain over-the-counter medicines if they have underlying health conditions or take other medications. You've got to talk to your doctor who knows you best. Over-the-counter medicines to treat cold symptoms should not be given to children under the age of 2, according to the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. So the over-the-counter medicine that can be used in kids to manage pain and fever in general, parents should not manage their children's cold symptoms in the same way they manage their own. Children are different. The risks and the benefits of specific treatments are also different. Always talk to your doctor or your pharmacist or your pediatrician before you start over-the-counter medicines for colds, or if you have any questions, of course. Over-the-counter pain relievers can help with the body aches and headaches associated with colds. So according to this doctor, he said analgesics like acetaminophen or like ibuprofen should be used in moderation according to the label given their side effects. There are so many people that just pop these like crazy and don't consider the side effects and the ramifications. Decongestants can help you feel less stuffed up by reducing swelling in the nasal passages. These include oral decongestants like pseudoephedrine, which does not require a prescription but is sold behind the counter at the pharmacy. Pseudoephedrine can be highly effective in relieving congestion, but it can also raise the heart rate and blood pressure or increase anxiety. So think about if you have those problems, then you're not supposed to take it. If you have any heart disease or blood pressure problems, then you may want to avoid these. Decongestants with an antihistamine can help if used for just a few days and you use it actually according to the label. That's the other problem. People try to just go on their own and they'll say, well, it says to take 1, but I'm going to take 5. Okay, you're not a doctor. Why are you thinking that you increasing it's going to be better? Decongestants are also available in a spray form, but this should only be used for a maximum of 3 days because rebound swelling can occur, according to this physician. A very common decongestant found in many over-the-counter cold medicines may not even relieve congestion at all. Recently, the FDA proposed to end the use of, phenylephrine? It's phenylephrine. phenylephrine, because it is ineffective. Okay, this is what I wanted to get to. NBC News previously reported it is ineffective. Okay, so in 2023, after regulators first raised doubts after the drug's efficacy, the drugstore chain CVS announced it was no longer selling medicines with this ingredient if it's listed as the only active ingredient, phenylephrine. Tell me if that's how you pronounce it. Phenylephrine. While that and over-the-counter medications containing it may not be effective at relieving congestion, there are no safety concerns. No safety concerns, but why are we spending our money if it doesn't work? Okay, so I'm going to look at my ingredients here. All right, go ahead and do so. This is going to be a little interactive. As you're at home, if some of you are sick right now, or if you're not sick, I'm glad, but it's probably coming on. I want you to look at your ingredients. Yep, here it is. So it's in this, and it says it's a nasal decongestant. So this is TheraFlu. This has acetaminophen as the highest with 650 milligrams. It has diphenhydramine, and then it has phenylephrine. I don't know if that's, again, how you pronounce it, but that's in it. But it's not the only active ingredient. It's one of the three. So they're saying that CVS stopped selling if it was the only active ingredient. Okay, so expectorants can thin the mucus in the sinuses or the chest, making it easier to clear out the airways, according to experts. Cough suppressants can also help if you're coughing through the night. Infants and young children should generally avoid taking over-the-counter cough medicines as they are potential adverse effects, but no proven benefits. So what are the best remedies? While there's no cure, there are ways to alleviate the cold symptoms, support your body as it recovers and feel less terrible. According to doctors, these are the best remedies that probably can't hurt to try the next time you're sick with a cold. Okay, stay home, right? Doctors are saying stay home if you feel sick. If you have a cold, you should stay home until you're feeling better. Not only can this help you rest and recover, but it also prevents you from spreading the cold to others. The contagious part of the cold is typically when the person has a runny nose or when they're coughing and sneezing. Okay, see, so I went to work and I didn't have all that yesterday, but then it came back. So when do you know to stay home and not stay home? Like, what is the time frame in all this? Back in the pre-COVID area, many people went to work sick with a cold and they would spread the cold around the office. That actually leads to a lot of decreased productivity, a lot of lost time at work. The common cold is actually the main reason children miss school and adults miss work, according to the CDC. All right, what did I say earlier? And I'm not a doctor, but we know this because we've been taught it and it works. Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. According to this doctor, my number one advice for getting over a cold is water. Staying hydrated. We underestimate the importance of this basic strategy, whether it's water, whether it's juice, clear broth. A lot of people like to do bone broth when they don't want to have, a lot of people aren't hungry, right? Bone broth is good. Warm lemon water with honey. Getting over a cold will then be easier if we're not dehydrated. Staying hydrated, that actually can help loosen up all that mucus causing your congestion. Get enough sleep. I talked about this earlier. The thing that's helping me through the last few days is water and sleeping like crazy. It's always important, but even more so when you're trying to get over a cold. Get plenty of sleep to keep your immune system fighting and do it consistently for a few days. Not just one and be like, okay, I caught up on my sleep. Try not to lie down in bed all day though. So this goes hand in hand with this. Let your body rest, but don't let yourself lie in bed all day because lying in bed can lead to complications. Okay, according to this doctor, this is good to know. When you have mucus in your lungs and you're not mobilizing and coughing it out and breathing nice and deeply, you can develop pneumonia. And here's something that I'm glad I'm reading this. According to this doctor from the Mayo Clinic, he says adding that sitting or lying in bed for too long can lead to a blood clot. Well, great. Can lead to a blood clot in the legs. And you all know, or I think you know, if you've watched the show for a while, I am highly susceptible to clotting because I have factor 5. All right, well, now I'm glad I'm mobile and getting up. Get up and move if you can. Maintain exercise, light to moderate level rather than daytime bed rest if you're not exhausted to help with recovery. Walking is a comfortable, familiar workout that offers a number of physical and mental health benefits. Doesn't hurt to get out in the fresh air. We talked about sunshine. It's a little cold and windy today, so I wouldn't necessarily get out into this right now, but remember not to go too hard at it. I think that's a problem, right? We've got this false sense of security and we try to run back into it. You still want to let your body recover by resting, not overexerting yourself. So when you're sick, you should not go and run Don't go run a mile or 5 miles or 10 miles. Let your body recover in a good time frame. You can use a saline nasal spray. So I was using Jim Swears by Zicam. That did help open up my nasal passages, but then it came back. So you have to do it on a regular basis. Saline nasal spray can help with congestion, and it's safe if used according to the label. Maybe a saline rinse would be good. And then doctors are talking about cranking up the humidity. They encourage long, steamy showers or a steam inhaler to get the steam up into the nose and the sinuses into the lungs so that you can keep the mucus flowing and keep it fluid. Humidifiers, by the way, also a great way to increase the moisture in the air of your room or your home while you're recovering. Soothe your throat with honey. A lot of you have been talking about that. Warm up with hot soups. That is all I've been eating for the last few days. I've had hot soups like crazy. I've been doing herbal tea. By the way, ginger. The herbal teas that I'm drinking is ginger aid. The flavorful root, great herbal remedy. It can add some extra spices to teas, broths, soups, curries. So I had Jim pick me up a red curry soup yesterday, and then I had ginger aid for my tea. Bottom line though, listen to your body. So with all of that information I've given you, what else do you want to add that you're doing for your home remedies? Pamela, good morning to you. So Stephanie says good old homemade chicken noodle soup. Yeah. So we used to talk about, is there one chicken noodle soup better than the other? I think a lot of the times the doctors say it's the sodium that we need in our bodies in the soup, whether it's Campbell's or it's another chicken noodle soup, but soup in general. Now, I know on a regular basis, people don't want to be taking in all that sodium, but this is when we need it. So if you're just tuning in, let's talk a little bit more about home remedies. And I also promised to pass along this. So we'll break it up a little bit and talk about our St. Louis Blues. Did you hear about this? Our St. Louis Blues unveiling their winter classic sweaters. Yeah, what do you think about these? Pretty cool, eh? They unveiled them. The NHL released the look at the uniforms, Winter Classic and Wrigley Field as we get ready for this. The Blues will take on the Blackhawks on December 31st. The jersey unveiled Wednesday have the special details, including city-specific elements. The Blues NHL Winter Classic uniform pays homage to the city's hockey heritage. The jersey's primary word mark represents the first time in team history that a blue note is not the principal design element appearing on the chest. The font styling and the numbers are inspired by an unworn prototype Blues uniform back in 1966. And the jersey also includes a newly designed vintage style blue note on the shoulder. And then lastly, the fleur-de-lis design is featured on the inside back neck and the hem loop labels to honor the city of St. Louis. By the way, the Winter Classic jersey can be purchased online at stlauthentics.com. And from 10 a.m. until 6 p.m. Wednesday at the STL Authentics team store at Enterprise Center, they started to have that available across the Fanatics Network site. So weigh in. What do you think? Do you like it? I think it's pretty cool. And again, even though I'm calling it a jersey, I think we're supposed to call that a sweater if we're really going to go back in time. So if you're a big Blues fan, weigh in and let us know what you think. And any of you going to the Winter Classic, do you watch it? I love it. We had a chance to go years ago, but this will be a good one, right? That's the one of the best teams for us to be playing against because that's the old rival, right? The Blues and the Blackhawks. Anybody that grew up in St. Louis, we absolutely love that. All right, I'm going to pass along the importance of nutrition, and I want you to weigh in like Sindra did. So Sindra had sent me a message last night and said that she uses doTERRA essential oils and has been for many, many years, as well as silver. Now, back in the days of the beginning of COVID, people were taking ivermectin and colloidal silver. Do you think those work? If you're in the medical field, what are your thoughts on all of that? I know that was very controversial. We did a story on it actually when I was in TV, and I ended up having people write into the station and they made our station redo the story because there was one doctor and one nurse. That's it. One doctor, one nurse that were frustrated that we'd put it out there. Well, now there's all these stories of people saying, hey, it does work. Again, does the FDA say it does? No. But aren't there a lot of things that people take in life that is not approved by the FDA? I mean, think about our supplements and our vitamins. Those aren't FDA approved, but we take them and we all swear it makes us feel better. Is it a placebo effect? Do we want it to make us feel better and so we feel better? I mean, I don't know. All I know is I haven't been sick in a long, long time, and I hope this is it. I don't have any wood around me, but I'm going to say knock on wood that this is it, out of my system, and that I don't continue to be getting sick for the next several months, because we are literally just kicking off the cold season. But what do you think? Essential oils. There are people who will weigh in. This is another controversial thing. People that swear by essential oils, and then other people on the other side of the aisle that say, oh my God, if I hear one more person say essential oils work, I'm going to puke. And I'm like, well, hey, there are people that swear. My mom swears by frankincense essential oils. There are essential oils that you can put on the body. There are essential oils that you can breathe in. There are essential oils I think that you can consume. There's other ones that need to have like a carrier. I've never gotten really, really big into it, but hey, if mom's going to pass along essential oil and frankincense and tell me it's going to make me feel better, I'm going to listen to mom, because overall, mom knows best. I didn't say that as a teenager, but I say it now. Which essential oils do you all use? And then again, what other home remedies besides us talking about Vicks Vapo Rub? I talked about Mentasan in the very beginning. We've talked about essential oils. Are there certain roots? Are there certain supplements? Are there certain vitamins that you swear by? Pass them along, because I think as a community, we can help each other. We're going to have more on the nutrition and the holistic side of healing when we return. That's right. Reach out to me. I would love to be a part. I think the next auction that I am doing is in February, St. Raphael auction. I love that one. I usually lose my voice, and it doesn't have anything to do with being sick. It's just because we have so many auction items, and it's such a fantastic crowd. So yes, if you didn't know, I MC and auctioneer and do motivational speaking. So if you've got a corporation, you've got a small business or a large business, and you would like for me to come and talk in the new year to boost everybody's mindset, get them ready to be a little bit more productive. You want your employees to be in a better mood, be happier. Again, there's so many levels of things that I do as a life coach, as well as a motivational speaker. And I'd love to be a part of your company. So reach out to me at info@TheRealMonicaAdams.com. We've got so many levels of what our brand does. And have you signed up for this yet? The Feel the Authenticity Workshop, Sunday, December 8th at Yenology. That's in Frontenac. I know some of you have purchased your tickets. We do still have some available to you. Go to TheRealMonicaAdams.com. Click on the calendar of events on this date, December 8th. I'd love to see moms and daughters, dads and sons, couples, best friends, coworkers, whoever. Bring people out together so that we can get into the new year and talk about your vision boards. We can talk about mental, spiritual, physical health. I want to get you finally on the best path. I mean, we're calling it Feel the Authenticity, but it really is so many levels of things. It's 2 hours. Who knows? We might go even over that. You've got great food there. You're going to have some healthy drinks. It's a workshop. It's a retreat. It's a mini retreat feel. It's a lot of the things that people have asked me about before that they've wanted to be a part of. And here's an opportunity for you to do just that. So if you haven't gotten your tickets, do so right now. Don't wait any longer. Don't wait to the last day. A lot of people end up saying, oh my gosh, why did I wait so long? Get your tickets. And for those of you that have purchased your tickets, tell them why you can't wait to be there. Because again, you're taking the reins and you're saying, I'm finally going to be the best version of myself. But again, it's December 8th, not January 1st or 2nd. We're not waiting until the beginning of the year. We're going to launch you there early. And I can't wait to be interactive. And, we do this where you all type in, but this is your opportunity to be in front of me and do the feedback and do the give and take. I'm going to give you all the knowledge that I have from training and life coaching for the last, 27 years, and help you be the best version of yourself. I can't wait for that. All right. So when we came back from the break, I told you we'd go a little bit deeper into the holistic side, but I want all of you, I'm going to pop over here to Instagram. If you're on Instagram, tell me what you use to better yourself, when it gets into boosting your immune system. So we mentioned, again, went pretty in depth about what came out 2 weeks ago. This ingredient, again, in a lot of cold medicines that now they're saying doesn't work for us. Well, a lot of us have known that for years, and now the FDA is talking about banning it, right? So for those of you that have been frustrated about that for many years, you probably said, I like to do things on my own, more natural remedies. And a lot of that has to do with what you're seeing here, right? More fruits, more vegetables, more green leafy vegetables, more essential fatty acids, right? So we think about the essential fatty oils that we take, omega-3s. When we're thinking about using oils, we've talked with nutritionists in the past about this. Watch the seed oils. Those are not good from an inflammation standpoint. Use the extra virgin olive oils. And I just came back from Italy, so we brought a lot back. I have loaded up my cabinet with the proper oils that we need to use, but you got to watch those seed oils. But fruits, right? You hear the old adage of an apple a day keeps the doctor away. Do you eat enough servings of fruits and vegetables? So here we go. Complex carbs stimulate the release of feel-good hormone serotonin. Complex carbs, right? Vitamin D, we become deficient in that as we go into the winter months. You're out of the sun as much as we normally are in the spring and the summer. So we're deficient in vitamin D. What do you do to make sure that you're boosting that? Do you take a supplement? Do you go get a vitamin D shot? Do you go and do these IV hydration therapies? We'll talk about elemental aesthetics in just a second. Maybe that's where you want to go and get your immune system boosted. A deficiency in vitamin D is linked to fatigue, mood changes, and increased illness. So my vitamin D levels were down. I was surprised by that. Omega-3s, I just mentioned, critical for healthy brain function, needed from your food sources. So you think of the fatty parts of fish like salmons, and I love Chilean sea bass, but also from nuts. So your almonds, your walnuts, zinc. Okay, so when I look at taking different supplements and vitamins, I'm looking always for zinc. That's needed for brain health, energy production, and immune function. And then fresh, frozen, canned, dried, it all counts. So a lot of people think, do I have to do it only on a fresh basis? Period. You just need to get this in your system. Sorry. Let's talk about the probiotic aspect, okay? The best way to improve the immune system, reduce the chances of falling sick and getting a respiratory infection, yogurt, rich in probiotics. It also provides calcium and protein. How about saltwater gargles? Nobody talked about that yet, and I'm surprised because I think that would be one of the very first things. People always talk about warm salt water, gargling with that if you have a sore throat. It definitely makes me feel better. I use Himalayan salt when I do it. Gargling may help to prevent or provide symptomatic relief from upper respiratory tract problems. It may provide a soothing effect on your sore throat, give relief from nasal congestions. Somebody mentioned elderberry earlier. That contains the active compound called anthocyanin, maybe, that has the ability to strengthen the immune system and prevent flu viruses from sticking to the cells. So let's get more elderberry. Eucalyptus. The oils, the inhalation of that relieves congested nose, calms down the respiratory tract by thinning the mucus and expelling that from the throat. We talked about warm baths. The doctor from the Mayo Clinic said, again, warm baths or steam showers. They not only are helpful in bringing down temperature and fever in children, but also help in relieving cold symptoms. And then essential oils. So I mentioned frankincense, but here are others that people swear by. Peppermint, thyme, and tea tree. What do you think about essential oils? Again, for those in the medical field, I know a lot of people have kind of poo-pooed it, but if you're an essential oil fan, tell me what you think it does best for you. And then topical balms and ointments, eucalyptus oil, camphor, other essential oils when rubbed in pain regions help ease cold symptoms. And that is literally how we started the show, talking about using Vicks VapoRub, not only on the chest, but using it on the feet. To use it on other areas, my mom says to put it up the nose. I don't know whether it works or not. I mean, just whatever we can do to get our passages opened up again. Terry says young living essential oils, thieves, frankincense, lavender, peppermint, all are good with a good comes with a book on each describing what works best for your symptoms. So she says Young Living. I know a lot of people swear by doTERRA. Off the subject, but can I get a prayer sent up from you all for my friend Debbie? She had a double lung transplant on Monday. She's breathing good on her own, and they have her up and walking. It will be a long recovery. Linda, our thoughts and prayers going out to your friend Debbie J right now. God is with her. God's got her. Let's believe that God will heal her very, very soon. Linda, our thoughts and prayers to your friend for sure. My mom always told me to gargle with salt water. Yep, when I first realized my first symptoms. Yes, when they first come on. And that's the other thing. People talk about using airborne or emergency as soon as there's a hint of any type of symptom. Linda says, yes, salt water is what I use for a sore throat. That's what I did a little bit ago. Okay, let's see. We're going over to Instagram. Ron P says, I just got Costco has the best oils. So you just got a Costco card. So what oils are you getting from them? Again, we talked about Yanology, and I know she swears by doTERRA. So if you're coming to the workshop on December 8th, you can pack up not only on the essential oils, but she's got all these warm bath bombs. I stocked up on a ton of those. So we talked about, you're welcome, Linda. We talked about taking warm baths. I'm going to immerse myself in lavender bath bombs, using essential oils, drinking more water, drinking more soup, getting more rest. To me, that's what's working more than this. Oh, yeah. So I looked at the TheraFlu one. Let me look at Robitussin. We talked about that ingredient that they're going to start banning if it's the only active ingredient, because they're saying after all these years, we knew it doesn't work. Okay. So it's not in this one. So Robitussin evidently works. And some of the things that people talked about, Mucinex DM, they said worked. Okay. So what about this one? Active ingredient. Okay, so it's not in Chloraseptic. It's in a lot of the other NyQuil, DayQuil, TheraFlu, all these things that we go and rush to the store. And again, I'm just trying to put it out there because why waste your money if it's not actually working for you? Use the ones that do. Overall, talk to your doctor, pull these news articles up and say, hey, I saw this in the news. Monica was talking about it on the show, and I want to know what you recommend that does really work. But again, look for that active ingredient. And if you see it in there, I'd say put it down. Don't use it. Okay. Again, think about all these natural remedies that you can do. Use the warm baths, use elderberry, do the gargling of the salt water. Just overall, do the remedies that you know work. Listen to mom and grandma and pass along. If you watch this later and you weren't able to watch the show live, let us know what works for you and doesn't. And I'll end with this. Popular herbal remedies for colds, flus, coughs, whatever you get: raw honey, echinacea, licorice root, American ginseng. I talked about ginger earlier, eucalyptus essential oil, marshmallow root, and then andograph. And is it andographis? Andographis. I haven't heard of that one, but I am going to be loading up because one of the things I mentioned that we didn't have a lot of when we were in Italy, there was a lot of pasta. Again, never felt really, really heavy or inflamed like we do here in the U.S. So everything's definitely fresh, but there weren't a lot of vegetables. I mean, we had some mushrooms because we were in the white truffle area, black truffle area. We went truffle hunting. I tried to start putting a post out last night, and for some reason it wouldn't post. So today I'm going to start loading up my socials with our Italy trip. A lot of people are asking me to put my full itinerary out of what we did from Milan to Torino to Monforte to Piemonte to Elba. I'll make sure that you know every place we went to, and then tell you that in 2025, we're going to be traveling together, you and I, all of us. A lot of people have been wanting to know when I'm going to be doing retreats again. Again, we got the mini retreat coming up at Yanology, December 8th. So that's your first opportunity to be with me. And then we'll be traveling together, where I will ensure that you have the healthy wellness side, while Nancy and Carl McConnell of Stone Soup Cottage, La Chambre de Fleur by Stone Soup, they do the culinary side. And boy, do they do it better than anybody. And they have entrusted me because they believe that I do the wellness side better than anybody else. So we're going to put the top of the games together and do these trips for you, whether we go to Italy, or I would love, love, love to hike in Peru. Machu Picchu has always been on my list. So some really cool things to come in 2025 and 2026. All right, we're going to read from Jesus Calling. We're going to wrap up for you when we return. I want to thank you all as you watch this later, do a little hashtag replay and let me know about all those home remedies that we need to know about. We've got something exciting coming up tomorrow. We're going to be live from Christopher's and Mark Anthony's Gifts. They're all in one brand now, STL Gifts in Kirkwood. So 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, we're taking the show on the road to Kirkwood. You'll definitely want to be tuned in for that because we're going to get a kickoff of the holiday season. We are going to be kind and gift kindly. We are having carolers. The Kingsbury Place singers are going to be with us. So we're definitely going to get you into the season. The carolers will be singing. We've got some giveaways from Christopher's, and we're just going to share the love together. I always love being with my dear friend Mark Coulter. I know you enjoyed those last year, so we're going to bring that back tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. And then next week, we've got Dot Fleshman. We're going to talk about Friendsgiving as we get ready for Thanksgiving. I'd love to know where you're all celebrating your Thanksgiving. If you're staying in town or traveling, I'm going to travel more than 50 miles because they say the people who travel, usually AAA says we travel more than 50 miles to get to our destinations. I'll be with my dad's side of the family celebrating Thanksgiving. Can't wait for that. So we'll have a little Thanksgiving show on Tuesday as we get ready for the holiday. And then next Wednesday, we are doing our reschedule of our fashion show at the Vault. So that's coming up for you next Wednesday. All right, more to come as we wrap up the Real Monica Adams Show. We are live on location, and this is a really cool thing. This is exactly what we can do from your business. We call it Mobile Monica. You know, I'm always on the move. Everyone knows about Jody's balls, and why is that?
I have the best ball.
Oh my God. You enjoying this?
Always.
Watch this, I gotta move with her.
Orange Theory is created to help people live a more vibrant life.
When we tell you that they have some of the most beautiful sunsets, we mean it. We're now in the brainchild of Adventure Unknown. That thing
Well, he's got a
is
heck of a
beautiful.
story behind that leopard,
I
too.
know.
It's going to be a very dangerous shoot, Diana.
It'll be
She says it
fabulous.
is. Monica or Mez Adams. How's that
Yes,
sound?
that sounds great.
This is Marianne Graff, owner of Just Be Kind Coffee House and Cafe. And you can see all the people in line. Oh, that handsome gentleman is... That would be my husband, Jim.
My mission statement says I want people to feel better leaving than when they came in.
And you do. Again, no calories when you're spreading kindness.
No calories when you're spreading kindness, especially if it's on the weekend.
We've been talking about health and wellness, and you can go here, 425 North New Ballas Road in Creve Coeur, and then you walk into this suite, and it's as calming as the music is. Elemental Aesthetics. It's Suite 206, and that's where you find Jennifer Warman Bloss, Tabitha, Liz, and so many others. They take care of the whole body. We've been talking, of course, about the aesthetic aspect, right? The facials, the dermaplaning, the microdermabrasion, all the wonderful lasers, the peels. But how about IV hydration therapy? I want to focus on today. Maybe you go in with a group of friends, you grab your family, and you think about boosting your immune system. And you do it to be preventative. You also think about going into the new year. People talk about their New Year's resolutions, and a lot of them have to do with weight loss, getting to the best version of yourself. So you can go in and you can have a consultation with Tabitha. She'll talk about it from a medical standpoint or maybe non-medical. You're seeing the chairs for your IV hydration therapy. Elemental Aesthetics. Again, if you haven't made your appointment yet, do so today and maybe buy some gift cards so you can go with some friends and family members. All right, we promised to read from Jesus Calling. Where's Marilyn been, by the way? Somebody get on the horn and text Marilyn. We haven't seen her in a while. I want to make sure she's doing okay. She gave us this book. It's called Jesus Calling from Sarah Young, and it's November 21st. So thank me throughout this day for my presence and my peace. There are gifts of supernatural proportions. Ever since the resurrection, I have comforted my followers with these messages. Peace be with you, and I am with you always. Listen as I offer you my peace and presence in full measure. The best way to receive these glorious gifts is to thank me for them. Not me, of course, but Jesus. It's impossible to spend too much time thanking and praising the Lord. I created you first and foremost to glorify me. Thanksgiving and praise put you in proper relationship with me, opening the way for my riches to flow into you. As you thank me for my presence and peace, you appropriate my richest gifts. Again, Jesus Calling and our 100 Days to Freedom books. Freedom from sickness. just bite this, right? I'm going to eat this apple to get rid of the sickness. Carrie said, before you leave, Brooks and Dunn and Jelly Roll video from the CMA Awards. Very inspirational, very moving. I believe. Okay, I'm going to have to watch that. I miss the CMAs. When I did mornings for WIL, it was absolutely one of my favorite things that I looked forward to every November. We used to get a chance to go to Nashville. I think I've talked about this in the past. And we would go into the studios, Emerald Studios, and there were multiple offices that you'd probably have about 15 to 20 different radio stations. And myself, David Craig, Elaine Everett, we were all there, and we would interview multiple artists, some of them brand new that we had never heard of. They were just on the scene. And some of those new artists have become longtime artists. Others were one-hit wonders, but you interviewed all of them. You did about 60 to 70 interviews while you were there over a 3-day period. And then we would play some of those live, and then other ones we would hang on to, and we would kind of mix them in, or we'd wait to see if they actually became big artists. And then we'd be like, oh, hey, we got an interview from them. And then we were blessed, and I do mean blessed, to go to the CMA Awards. So Carrie, I used to be there. I used to love that. Get all dressed up in the gowns and be there to watch one of my favorite award shows. Again, some of the best artists ever. Wasn't it Peyton Manning and Luke Bryan? Were they the host with, was it Lainey Wilson, I think, was one of the newer artists? Didn't get a chance to see it, but I'll have to do some of the recap. Can't wait for tomorrow, Linda says. You missed those shows? Yep, I'll tell Mark that. Yes, the Carolers, Mark Coulter, Michael Clausen, the owners of Christopher's and Ma Gifts. So if you didn't know, Mark Anthony's closed to become one with Christopher's. So it's one big family together now. Yeah, we're looking forward to that tomorrow. And then still thinking about what I want to have on Monday. I might reach out to my friend Kasha in Canada and do more of a natural side of medicine on Mondays. We've got a couple things in the works for that. Tuesday, Dot Fleshman, the real estate extraordinaire with Coldwell Banker Gundaker. She'll get us updated on how the real estate market is now at post-election, how people are feeling about buying and selling homes. And then we're going to talk about Friendsgiving, as we're just a couple of days away from Thanksgiving. And then Wednesday is the big makeover show, so don't miss that. Again, we wish the best to Diana from the Vault Luxury Resale. She came down with probably what I have. She said it's a sinus infection. I hope that it is just that and not something else worse. But that's why we tabled today's makeover show. So again, everybody, thank you so much. I hope you stay well. That's the most important thing. Be preventative instead of reacting and then trying to play catch up. Hydrate. Eat your fruits and vegetables. Have a beautiful day. Surround yourself with positive people. And again, if there's any questions, any comments, be sure to drop them in a little bit later. I'm always here for you as well. Remember, the most important thing in life is to always spread the kindness. Just surround yourself with love and be there for one another. That's the greatest thing we can do to stay well in life. God bless you all.